Hello, welcome to Papa Nick's Music. I am, as always, your host, Papa Nick Lewis. And today we're talking about music movies. Ooh. Several weeks ago, I did a ranking of Steely Dan's singles. And in that, when I was talking about the song FM, No Static at All, I talked about how I had considered FM the movie for a video that I had planned to do several months ago about movies that predominantly feature music. And I eventually crossed it off the list because, Jesus, is it a bad movie? But since I did that video, I've been thinking about this and realizing, hey, I never got around to finishing that. So we're going to do that today. We are going to talk about, I'm going to give you my top 10, my favorite music movies. Because this is a top 10, Papa Nick's Music Top 10 series is unofficially sponsored by Schöfferhofer Beer. If you love wheat Hefeweizen beer mixed with grapefruit soda, oh, you're going to love Schöfferhofer. That's good beer. And it's been a while since I've done a top 10. Okay, before we get into the ranking itself, subjectivity notice. We firmly believe here at Papa Nick's Music that there's no such thing as objectively good or objectively bad art. There is only art that we like and art that we do not. And as long as we keep that in mind, this is a wonderful conversation. It's enlightening, it's informative, it's entertaining. It goes off the rails real quick, though, as soon as somebody in the conversation gets hung up on being seen as objectively right. So, I'm not saying that these are objectively the best films that prominently feature music. Obviously, I wouldn't say that because I don't think that can be said, not with any level of certainty anyway. So, keep that in mind. This is my take. You're welcome to disagree with me, but you are not welcome to tell me I'm objectively wrong. No. That does not exist. Cool. Okay, so when I say music movies, what am I talking about? I'm talking about movies that are just regular movies. Regular, got a story, they got actors, we got protagonist, antagonist conflict. We might have a car chase in there. You never. I'm sitting here and I'm in the dark and I'm eating my popcorn and I'm watching a movie. Right? Movies. We are not talking about concert movies. No. I might see those in the theater, but no. We're not talking about documentaries. No. There are a lot of good documentaries about music out there. We are not talking about that now. And for the most part, we're not talking about musicals. There are a couple on here that are musicals, but for the most part, we don't have much in the way of musicals. If we were including musicals, for example, I would be, oh man, way up toward the top would be The Music Man, because oh boy, do I love that movie. Robert Preston. Oh, I just adore Robert Preston. And I could sneak it in because it is about music. His con is setting up a boys band for the town. But we're not talking about movies like that. So, yeah, Music Man gets an honorable mention, but he's not on the list. Cool? Okay. So, here are my 10 favorite music movies. And I actually have an honorable mention. There's this should be my number 10. But I had to put something else on for number 10. That's going to make sense here in a second. So I'm giving an honorable mention to 1980's The Blues Brothers. I loved this movie when it came out. And I would feel horribly guilty if I didn't mention it. The musical performances are great, especially Aretha Franklin. Oh my God, I love that performance of Think that she does. The script is goofy. You've got, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? For me, I'm particularly fond of Kathleen Freeman as the nun and John Candy as the parole officer. Oh my God, they make the movie as far as I'm concerned. But still, I should put the Blues Brothers on here, but I didn't because I saved my number 10 spot for... Okay. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. Okay? Don't believe in that concept. I used to. I don't anymore. If you like it, that's good enough. You don't have to feel guilty about it. But this next thing is really pressing my my endurance on how willing I am to not call it a guilty pleasure. Because the movie I have here at number 10 is a crappy movie. It is beyond crappy. It is exponentially crappy. The musical performances are crappy. The acting is crappy. The script is crappy. This is a pile of crap of a movie. But oh my God, do I love it. And yes, of course, I am talking about Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. There are Scooby-Doo episodes that have a better, more tightly constructed script than you're gonna find here. But come on, it's Kiss, and it's Anthony Zerbe. Oh my God, you gotta love Anthony Zerbe. It's a crap movie, but I do enjoy watching Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. So, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park comes in at number 10. Okay, from here on out, we're talking actual good movies. At number 9, I have the most recent movie on my list. This is from 2014, and that is Love and Mercy. This is the biopic about Brian Wilson. And when I first heard about the movie, when the movie was in production and they had cast it and they were getting ready to start shooting it, I found out that they had cast two people as Brian Wilson. Paul Dano plays young Brian Wilson. John Cusack plays old Brian Wilson. And I was surprised that they did this rather than one actor and then just aging him up or de-aging him the way it would be done now. But it was actually pretty well cast. Paul Dano is amazing. I mean, he looks, get my verb tense right, he looks like Brian. I didn't think he would until I actually saw him with the hair and all of that. It's like, oh man, slam dunk on that. And he talked like him. I thought Paul Dano did a fantastic job as young Brian Wilson. And John Cusack didn't look very much at all like the older Brian Wilson. Older Brian Wilson during the period where those scenes are set after Landy had his hooks on him for a while, so he had lost the weight, and he did look thin, but he didn't have the gaunt look about him that John Cusack often has. So a little quibbling with that casting, but with that being said, John Cusack did a wonderful job in the role. It was a very good movie. I very much enjoyed it. Number 9, Love and Mercy. Number 8. Okay, so it's I don't think a huge surprise that most of these movies came out in a span between the late 70s up through the early 80s, because look at me. This movie came out in 1982, and it's one of my favorite movies. I'm stopping short of it's not really a musical. It just has a lot of musical numbers, and that's because the characters are music hall performers. I am talking about, from 1982, Blake Edwards' Victor Victoria. Oh God, I love this movie. Come on, it's got Julie Andrews and James Garner. Oh my God, do they work well together. If you have never seen the Americanization of Emily from 62, 63, something like that, check it out. Fantastic movie. So it's got the two of them, and they're great. It's got Robert Preston. I love Robert Preston. It's directed by Blake Edwards. Come on, Blake Edwards, Pink Panther, SOB, Blake Edwards. Of course, it's going to be good. The script is good. It's smart. It's witty. The acting is fantastic. This is just one of my favorite movies. I love Victor Victoria. It had to be on the list, and so I stuck it in here at number 8. At number 7, I decided to go with 1979's The Muppet Movie. I knew I wanted to have at least one Muppet. I wanted to have one Muppet movie on here. Could have been Muppet Christmas Carol. Oh my God, is that a great movie? But I decided to go with the original. Rainbow Connection alone it makes this movie worth including on a top 10 list like this. It's The Muppets. Come on. You gotta love The Muppets. Number 7, The Muppet Movie from 1979. Number 6, excuse me. Get my numbers in the right order. So this is a movie. It was very groundbreaking when it came out. I mean, it essentially established the mockumentary as an art form. The script was largely improvised. The dialogue, excuse me, was largely improvised. The actors who portrayed the members of the band that were the subject of this movie also recorded the music. I mean, and it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. But no, I'm not talking about This Is Spinal Tap. I am talking about the real groundbreaker, the real original mockumentary. I'm talking about 1978's All You Need Is Cash. Neil Innes and Eric Idle, the story of the Ruddles. Neil Innes wrote all of the music, and the music is performed in the movie by Neil Innes, Ollie Halsell, hard to say, Ricky Fataar, and John Halsey. Well, Ollie doesn't show up in the movie. He does show up. He plays the fifth Ruddle that they lost in Germany. He's just like in a photograph. He doesn't actually appear with the rest of the guys. Eric Idle plays Dirk McQuigley in the movie, but when Eric is singing, that's actually Ollie doing that singing. But that is Neil Innes singing the songs that Ron Nasty sang. That is Neil Innes playing the piano and the rhythm guitar. That is Ricky Fataar playing guitar. That is John Halsey playing the drums. That is the Ruddles. And I love the Ruddles. I love Neil Innes. All You Need Is Cash is my number 6 movie. And for what it's worth, spoiler alert, This Is Spinal Tap does not chart. I like This Is Spinal Tap, but it irritates me every time I see Rob Reiner and Michael McKean and Chris Guest and Harry Shearer when they're in interviews and they talk about what they did in This Is Spinal Tap as if they were inventing it, and they were several years after Neil Innes and Eric Idle. So that bugs me. It is a funny movie, but it also bugs me. Number 6, All You Need Is Cash. Number 5, from 1984, we have Amadeus. Tom Hulce's performance in this is fantastic. I mean, he walks that line between being, sincere and insecure on one side and just being excess and goofy on the other. It's just, it's amazing. He can go the scene when he's first introduced and Salieri is playing the song that Salieri wrote, and Mozart comes in. He's been listening to the song, and Salieri is going to give him the score of the song, and Mozart said he doesn't need it. He already knows the song, and he goes over and he starts playing it. And as he's playing it, he goes, "Yeah, that part that doesn't really work there, does it? Maybe if you oh yeah, that's it." And you can see on Tom Hulce's face as he's doing this that he's got no clue that he's offending Salieri. He's got no clue of that. He's immersed in the music, and when he finds the thing that works, the joy that lights up his face it's amazing. The scene toward the end where he is trying to dictate the requiem that he is composing to Salieri. Salieri's writing it out for him because he's too ill to physically write it out. And Mozart is telling him, okay, so we've got this part. Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? Oh my God, that's gripping. It's gripping to watch that. I don't care that it's as far as historical accuracy goes, we might as well have a lightsaber in there, and Salieri can plug in to a PV amp. I mean, I don't care that it's not accurate. It is a wonderful, wonderful movie, and the interplay between F. Murray Abrahams, Salieri and Tom Hulce's Mozart is just fantastic. Love Amadeus. And number 4. Now, number 4 is a movie that, I will be honest, when I first started doing this, when I first, several months ago, when I was generating my list and thinking about this movie, did not even cross my mind. Not too long ago, my wife and I were on vacation, and we were in our cabin one evening, flipping around the dial looking for something to play on the TV while she fell asleep and I was reading my book, and landed on the movie channel, and they were playing this movie that I have not seen in years, and I immediately got sucked back into it because it's such a good movie, and that is 2000's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Now, when I think of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, I don't think of it as a music movie. I mean, obviously it is. The soundtrack was huge. Music, I mean, come on. Obviously, music is a huge part of this. The I Am a Man of Constant Sorrow and all of that. That's not how it registers in my. I think of it just as a comedy. But it is a fantastic movie. It's one of my favorite Coen brothers movies. It shouldn't work. I mean, on paper, it shouldn't work. We're going to transplant the Odyssey into Depression-era Mississippi? Okay. Okay, good luck raising the money for it. It shouldn't work, but oh my God, it does. George Clooney is fantastic. Tim Blake Nelson is fantastic. John Turturro, oh my God, they are so good. And you've got John Goodman and Stephen Root just stealing scenes left and right. Oh man, I can watch this movie and just cackle. And I love the music, even though normally I really do not care for folk music at all. But there's something here about this music that I love. It's just part of the. It is part of the fabric of this movie. The same way the color washing that they did to make everything seem sepia toned. That's just it's an intrinsic part of the movie. I love Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? One of my favorite movies. And it's at number 4 in my top 10 favorite music movies. Okay. Let's get to some stuff that you knew had to be on here. Number 3, of course, I've got the Beatles. Of course, I've got A Hard Day's Night from 1964. I mean, come on. I've got to include Hard Day's Night on here. Hard Day's Night is not just a good Beatles movie. It's a good movie. And the thing that really impresses me about it, I mean, we could talk for a life. Are the Fab Four acting here? Are they good actors? Well, I don't know if they're really acting. I know they're performing. I don't know if they're really acting. Hard to say. They've got lines that they recite, but the thing that I love about this movie is that it is very obviously 1964. Okay, the fashions, the black and white photography, the haircuts, the slang. Oh, we think she's grotty, that kind of stuff, right? I mean, it is 1964, but still, every time I watch it, it seems fresh. Every time I watch it, it seems like I'm seeing it for the first time, and that is rare, my friends, because I've seen this movie, I don't know, a couple hundred times in my life, and for me to still react to it as if this is the first time I'm seeing it, that's impressive. So yeah, I gotta have number 3 on here, Hard Day's Night from 1964. Now, I knew, as soon as I started this, I knew what my top 2 were going to be. If you are one of the handful of people who watch these videos who actually know me, or you're a friend of mine here in the San Antonio area, I'm looking at you, Robbo, then you know at least one of these 2 movies up here. I make no secret of my deep affection for these 2 movies. The problem is, I really don't know how to rank them because they are both qualifiers for my favorite movie of all time, and I like them for very different reasons. So, today, and this could change tomorrow, I'm not saying that this is, oh, I could put either one of them. What I'm saying is that they are very different movies, and which one is better depends on what the perspective is that I have that day. It's not based on, oh, my affection is tied. No, because I like them for very different reasons. That was complicated, but that's my way of saying, if you know me, you know that I'm going to have as number one That Thing You Do, but I actually have it here at number two. My number two movie is 1996's classic That Thing You Do. Oh my God, do I love this movie. It is eminently quotable. It's got a wonderful story to it. I love it. I love the performances. I like everything. I like the casting. Tom Everett Scott and Steve Zahn are particularly inspired, but Alex Rocco does a wonderful job. Chris Isaak, in a very small role, does a wonderful job. And even Howie Long, who got cut out of the movie entirely, but is in the director's cut. Fantastic. Not a misstep anywhere in this casting. I love the script. I love the photography of it, the composition of the scenes, the way Hanks will, shift his focus depending on. Oh, I love that. And I love the music. I love the music that the Wonders, or is it the Oneaters, play. I love the music that the others play. I love the cheesy opening song, Loving You Lots and Lots. I've got the soundtrack over there. It's one of my favorite albums. Oh my God. But I also love the score. Howard Shore wrote the score to this thing. And there are some scenes where that music is just perfect. In particular, there's a scene toward the end. Faye has just exploded on Jimmy. I don't want you near me anymore. I want you to stop. I don't want to be near you anywhere. I don't. Whatever. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how she expresses it, but she gives her speech and she storms off, and everybody has left. Tom Hanks with the wonderful when Jimmy says, which one of you guys said that we were engaged? And Tom Hanks says, the same one who said you had class. Oh, I love that. Great scene. But in at the end of that scene, when it's just Jimmy and Guy, and Guy is looking at Jimmy, just equal measures irate and dumbfounded that he could screw up like this with this woman that he's desperately in love with. And Jimmy looks up at him and says, take off those stupid glasses. And Guy takes his glasses off. And in that moment, there's been this nice guitar-based music that's been playing. And in that moment, there is I got goosebumps just thinking about it. It is perfectly scored. Perfectly scored. I love That Thing You Do. It is comfort food. It is something when life feels like shit, which it does a lot these days. That Thing You Do. It perks me up every time. I love That Thing You Do. But I've got it at number two because I think my number one is actually a better movie. As perfect as I think That Thing You Do is, I think 1968's Head is a better movie. It is a more ambitious and, because it is successful, more accomplished movie. The thing opens with, after the opening scene where you've got a girl kissing each of the monkeys to tell them who's the best kisser. Anyway, we get into the opening of the movie, the theme of the movie. It's a little thing called Diddy Diego. And it says, we know it doesn't matter because what you came to see is what we'd love to give you, and give it 1, 2, 3. But it may come 3, 2, 1, 2, or jump from 9 to 5, and when you see the end in sight, the beginning may arrive, right? telling you right up front, this thing is not going to make sense. This thing is not chronologically consistent. You may think that we are getting to the end of the movie, but it's going to be right back at the beginning, which is exactly what happens in the movie. For those who look for meanings, it continues, in form as they do fact, we might tell you one thing, but we'd only take it back. Not back like in a box back, not back like in a race, not back so we can keep it, but back in time and space. We are not beholden to the standard rules of storytelling here. You say we're manufactured, to that we all agree. So make your choice and we'll rejoice in never being free. Hey, hey, we are the Monkees. We've said it all before. The money's in. We're made of tin. We're here to give you more. Watching Head is a lot like those Magic Eye 3D pictures, right? Where you're looking at it and you're trying to hold it at just the right, and it's just a bunch of squiggles and then it snaps and you can see the dolphin or the bear or whatever the hell it is that you're looking at. And then one of your hands shakes and boom, it's gone again, right? But once you know what it is and you know what you're looking for, it becomes easier to see later times, right? Watching Head is a lot like that. It's got a disjointed, unsettling structure to it because it's hard to tell what the hell is going on. It's very much a surreal movie. But every once in a while, I see it. That's a dolphin, right? This is a movie about the restrictive nature of fame in general, celebrity in general, but also the very specific example of what the Monkees themselves were going through. The symbol that goes throughout this thing, they're constantly getting trapped in a box, trying to get out of the box, and once they get out of the box, they find they're back in another box, right? They're constantly trying to get out of the box, and part of this is, out of the box. They're trying to be creative. They're trying to be out of the box, but they keep getting shoehorned. And part of this is that they're wrestling with this box centric, i.e. television centric sense of who they are and what they can be, what they can do, how they can act, how they can perform, what they can say, what they can't say, this sort of stuff. This is a movie that is the disjointed nature of life in the public eye, the constant conflict between, on one side, what the fans want you to do, on another side, what the record company or the production company wants you to do, what you want to do, and even among the four of you, what you individually want to do will be going in different directions. In the opening concert performance scene where they are playing the Nesmith song Circle Sky, at the end of the song, all of the teenage girls in the audience storm the stage and start ripping them apart, and as they're ripping the Monkees apart, we see that they're mannequins, and this this is the Monkees experience. They were plastic, they were prefabricated, and they were little more than souvenirs for the girls who caught them. And no matter what they do, they end up getting trapped in the big black box. And every time I see them anywhere near that big black box, I recall George Carlin once when he was talking about sexual imagery in advertising. And he said, and what's the main image in this commercial is a train going into a tunnel. You don't have to be Fellini to figure that one out. And I think, okay, they're trapped in the box. You don't have to be Fellini to figure that one out. I think this is a wonderful movie. It is a crowning achievement for the Monkees as performers. It's a crowning achievement for Bob Rafelson as a director, for Jack Nicholson as a writer. I love this movie. I treasure this movie, and I completely understand why it bombed when it was released. Well, there's a really good argument that says that the Monkees should never have made this movie. I'm still glad that they did. And it's my number one movie, Head, from 1968. And those are my 10 favorite music movies. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Drop that comment down below. I always love hearing from you. Especially if you've got, listening to my list here, you think of other similar movies that I've overlooked. Drop those down because it may be that I don't know about them, and I'm always looking for recommendations for good movies. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. If you did enjoy it, geez Louise. If you did enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you would click the like button. If you do click the like button and you have not already done so, while you're down there, go ahead and click the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to me, so I very much appreciate that. When you click the subscribe button, go ahead and click the notification. For the YouTube folks, they care. I don't, but they do. So on their behalf, I say thank you. Thanks again for hanging out with me today, and I hope that the rest of your day is invigorating. See you soon.